The following is a brief conversation I had with a criminal psychologist who is one of my boyfriend's clients. Dr. S. was nice enough to answer some of my questions in regards to the Watts case. Therefore, I refrained from asking his permission to post his name on YouTube. I know this does not make the information 100% credible, therefore you will just have to take my word for it. I will, however, be providing some of his credentials. Before I begin, I'd like to add that Dr. S. only knows a few details about the case, and all of his answers are unbiased and from his professional standpoint. Dr. S. went to St. Louis University School of Medicine. He has over 50 years of experience in criminal and administrative psychiatry in community, military, education, state, and federal mental health programs. He was the director of one of the largest forensic hospitals in the United States. He's a certified expert witness in over 40 superior and federal courts in California and Colorado. He's had multiple publications in the American Journal of Forensic Psychology. He was awarded honorary fellow for the American College of Psychiatrists, and he's published 2 books discussing his theories on why criminals are the way they are. In one of his books, Dr. S. discusses his work with small children, juveniles, and adults as criminals, and his theories as to why they are bent that way. He also discusses what is necessary to be a mentally healthy human. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions about a case I've been following. Sure, what case is it again? The Watts case? It was the one that took place in Colorado, where the husband murdered his wife and kids and dumped their bodies at a well site owned by the oil and gas company he worked for? Oh yes, I remember. The Watts case from the day he allegedly committed the murders and the day of his sentencing took roughly 3 months. This seems rather fast. Do you know how long a typical plea deal process takes in a homicide case? Well, I mean, it is conceivable if they had all this time from August to November to get all the facts together, and if they had a solid case on him and kind of indisputable, and he's admitting to everything, there isn't any reason why they couldn't move forward. But I guess what I'm wondering is, when he admitted to the crimes, did he waive a trial then at that point? Yes, he did. He waived the trial. Yeah, if they got all that down at the time that he pleaded, when he admitted to the crimes, they could go forward. I did some researching into the Colorado revised statutes on plea deals. One of the stipulations states that the defendant must provide a factual basis. However, this stipulation was left out of Chris's guilty plea and waiver. Do you know what court this took place in? Where did it finally take place in? Was it Colorado Springs? I believe all of his court hearings were in Greeley. Oh, in Greeley? Is that the county in which the crime took place, or is that where he is a resident? The crime took place in Weld County, and I believe Greeley is in Weld County. Yes, that's right. Well, looks to me like they short-circuited the thing. I'm not quite sure how they were able to do that. But yeah, if those were the Colorado revised statutes that require that, I'm not quite sure how they got around that. Okay, interesting. Now a couple things more. I mean, when he pled guilty and everything, were the bodies ever recovered? I never followed this. Yes, they were recovered. However, there was no actual confirmed crime scene and no autopsy photos released. Not only that, but the autopsies themselves appear to be incomplete. The district attorney and law enforcement were never able to confirm where the murders actually occurred, and to be honest, they only had circumstantial evidence against him. They ultimately took Chris's word as far as how he committed the murders. Yeah, it looks to me like they took some shortcuts. Weld County, Greeley, those are some of the areas in Colorado that I've testified in court cases there, and they are still a frontier country. There are different parts of Colorado that they operate pretty much how they sort of want to. If it were Denver, they would be too close to be overlooking everything. But some of those outlying counties, and Greeley is one of those areas, they run their own show, and they don't necessarily follow what you might expect from law. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, there will be other places, especially in the western half of Colorado, where I know a lot of the courts and the justice systems and the judges and things like that. Of course, that was a long time ago, but I know how they operate even way back then. They have their own sort of system of justice. They're going to see to it that they're going to do what they want to do. And if they got a guy confessing to the crimes and everything, what sentence did he get? What was his? They were going to charge him with the death penalty, but since he took the plea deal and confessed to all the murders, it was taken off the table and they gave him life. I believe he got 3 or 4 consecutive life terms. 3 or 4 consecutive life terms? Yes, okay. The district attorney allegedly flew to North Carolina to personally speak to the victim's family about the plea agreement. He claimed that it was their decision to not seek the death penalty. I know that the DA will sometimes take the opinions of the victim's family into consideration, but I didn't think they were able to ultimately decide whether or not someone lives or dies. It sure sounds like they were in a rush to get the thing closed. Take care of off the books. Did they ever do anything as far as the girl was involved? No, she even deleted all of the text messages between her and Chris just before coming forward to law enforcement, but no, they did not.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me. The oil companies have tremendous power and the ability to really sway things. I don't know how big, I think they've got some. I don't know how big the oil industry is in Weld County, but oh, it's huge. Weld County holds 90% of the oil in Colorado.
I think that's probably a lot that really pushed this thing along. I agree. I believe the oil company has a lot to do with what went on. I did find something interesting during my research. At the time of the murders, when the news story came out and throughout the investigation, there was a bill that the environmental groups were trying to get passed called Proposition 112. This bill would essentially move the fracking buffer zone from 500 feet to 2,500 feet, which would have cost the oil and gas industry millions of dollars if it passed. Yeah, it sounds like there was a lot in the background going on that was really pulling strings and controlling a lot of stuff, which doesn't surprise me. Knowing the kind of background there is, I mean, that's the kind of background there is still in areas like that in Colorado. I used to go hunting up past there, pheasant hunting in the wide open fields, and some duck hunting too. But as I mentioned before, you get out there beyond Greeley especially. That's sort of the last town. Once you get out beyond that, you're really in frontier country. Those people run their own show.